Engineer of Aroma, Flavor and Supply Chain Management. Hi engineer, we are group number 8 and today we explain the process of the Nescafé company.
Nescafé coffee. Prepare Nescafé coffee in the morning. Take just 5 minutes with hot water and a spoonful of sugar. Nescafé's supply chain facilitates this companies through different stages and this manufacturing process.
Coffee has become the second most consumed beverage after water. Around the world, approximately of to 400 billion of coffee are consumed. Million people have tons of grams of coffee.
The coffee plant takes between 2 and 4 years to produce its fruits. A very important factor in this process is the climate, because it will determine the quality of the coffee.
Annually, Nescafé receives 35 million tons of coffee bags, employed 90 tons of people to produce solution coffee, and the rate 165 tons of herb per day. The fallacy process the tons of coffee is not for crops America. The massive container stuff hundreds at the top of coffee. Nescafé uses two coffee types, Arabica and Robusta, as their quality per each batch after productions.
Cleaning and starting. This process, the quality of the beans bags is checked. The coffee is then cleaned to remove, reduce, and stored by bean type before being stored in specific containers.
Coffee process costs. Nescafe process costs can vary according to the region, country and production plant, cleaning and sorting process 0.15 to 0.17 per pound. Total processed coffee per month 16,600 tons. Total cost of cleaning and sorting per month 19 million to 14.6.2 million approximately.
Now I'm going to talk about the roasting process. In this process, the coffee releases the aroma, flavor, and part of the caffeine. This lasts approximately 12 minutes. Referring to a production of 333 million hours of coffee, that is equivalent to 66,600 tons of coffee per month. Well, according to the type of roasting, the cost change. We have 3 types of roasting. Well, the light roast is in 10 to 30 cents per pound. Medium roast 15 to 40 cents per pound, and dark roast 20 to 50 cents per pound. And the total cost per month between approximately 9 to 23 million of dollars, plus equipment, maintenance, and energy cost.
Coffee grinding process. The coffee industrial which processes powder which and the transformation to layers certains. The session cost, the grind process, and the 5 cents and 20 cents per spoon. Multi-production, the 3 million hard coffee. The station mode with grind cost at the $5.3 millions and the 13.2 millions. Additional expense includes equipment, maintenance, and energy costs.
Extraction and condensation. The coffee powder is mixed with hot water in large tanks. The coffee passes through a conveyor belt to the freezer room. The extraction cost per pound of coffee will depend on the type of coffee desired. The instant coffee extraction is on 20 to 50 cents per pound. The espresso extraction 30 to 60 cents per pound, and extraction of filtered coffee 15 to 30 cents per pound. And the total cost of extraction and condensation per month approximately 16 to 39 million of dollars.
Lyophilization. The lyophilization preserves the follow of the coffee be removed water. This monthly costs approximately between $29.9 million and $66.6 million, including additional expenses.
Freezing. The coffee infusion is frozen at 15 degrees Celsius. Total cost of freezing per month 16.6 million to 29.9 million. Labeling walled bacon that container a label and brought in group 2-bit bacon. Every cost 0.022 to 0.03 per unit.
Coffee crush process. The coffee diffused crushed into the froth, particularly 2 or 3 ml dimers. The particulars and remove through the freezer and the 60 kilograms trade. With each tray capacity, the filling approximately 75 hertz. The particular, the euro gold, vacuum trimmer and derivatives and the trial shavers. The cost approximate process is the cost 8 at 70 per pound.
Packet. After the water is removed, the coffee goes to the filling machine, which can fill 218 yards per minute for a total of 175 yards per day. The cost of packing ranged from 25 cents to 50 cents per minute, with monthly cost between $83.2 million and $166.5 million plus equipment, maintenance, and materials, assuming 3,033 million yards are produced per month.
Labeling walled bacon that container a label and brought in group 2-bit bacon. Every cost 0.022 to 0.03 per unit.
In the final packaging, in this process, the containers are bred to take them to the points of sale. The cost of packaging, we can see approximately of 6 to 18 cents per unit, and in the total monthly cost will be 19 to 59 million, plus maintenance and material costs.
And finally, conclusion is it's essential to note that I've mentioned the costs are approximate and they may vary depends of the scale of production and technology used. Additional, the costs to know include other operation expense, such transportation, store and marketing. Enjoy the addition the cup of Nescafé coffee in the morning bowls and the later complex process, but in the total world and the savory overall and the aroma and flavors.
The most popular beverages in the world is made. Coffee is the second most consumed beverage in the world after water. It is believed to have been discovered by a shepherd who noticed that his goats became more active after eating certain beans. Coffee has been cultivated for over 1,000 years and is now produced in more than 60 countries around the world. The history of Nescafé dates back to the early 20th century, when Swiss chemist Max Morgenthaler began working on a way to produce soluble coffee. In 1930, Nestle acquired the rights to Morgenthaler's patent and began producing and marketing soluble coffee under the Nescafé brand. The company invested heavily in advertising and promotion, and Nescafé quickly became a leading brand in the coffee market. During World War II, Nescafé became a staple for the U.S. troops and the Allied forces as it was easy to transport and prepare in the battlefield. After the war, Nescafé became a popular product worldwide, and Nestle continued to innovate in the production and packaging of soluble coffee. The flavor of coffee depends on the region where it is cultivated and the roasting and blending methods used by the producers. Brazil is the largest coffee producer in the world, accounting for over 35% of coffee production. Coffee grows in the form of flowers, and 9 months later the buds become grape-sized berries. Coffee is harvested from the coffee plants once it is fully ripe, which can be identified by its intense red color. From flowering to harvest, it usually takes between 6 and 9 months. Harvesters collect the ripe berries while leaving the green ones to ripen further. They return to collect the berries from the same plant as they mature. Harvesters try to ensure that there are no more than 2 green berries for every 100 leaves they collect. The harvested berries are collected in sacks and loaded into trucks. Each sack contains about 2 kilograms of coffee beans, enough to prepare around 200 cups. Harvesting coffee by hand is an exhausting job, so some coffee plantations have turned to machines like the 5-meter-tall harvester shown, which can do the work of 100 people. As it moves along a row of trees, the machine vibrates rods inside it to shake the berries from the branches. The fresher the berry, the better its flavor. The berries collected in the morning are stored in a wet mill, ready for processing in the afternoon. In the wet mill, water channels wash the berries and drop them into a screw auger, which loads them into a deep pulper to separate the outer skin and fruit. A rotating drum presses the berries against the wall of the depulper, squeezing out the beans. From the depulper, the beans travel through water channels to 2 enormous rotating cylinders, where they are sieved to separate them from the green hard berries that have passed through the depulper. The beans are then bathed in more water to extract a thick, sugary substance. Next, they are spread out on a cement patio to dry for 4 days, with workers raking the beans to dry them in the sun. Once dried, the beans go through a huller, which separates the husk from the bean. The dried beans are then sorted by weight into 3 categories on an oscillating table. The beans in each category are poured into bags, each weighing exactly 69 kilograms before they are sent to coffee processing plants. The bags are sewn shut and stacked for shipment. But how are these coffee beans turned into one of the world's most popular beverages? Every year, 35 million tons of freshly harvested fruits arrive at plants like this one of the largest soluble coffee plants in the world. This is the Nescafé factory, where 890 people work, producing soluble coffee. Every day, 170 tons of coffee beans are delivered from South America to this instant coffee factory. Up to 560 tons are stored in this enormous silo. Each day, 1,200 sacks of raw materials enter this plant. The process begins with sampling, which involves poking each bag to obtain a coffee sample. The Nescafé factory uses 2 types of coffee, the Arabica variety and the Robusta. The Arabica species produces a fine and aromatic coffee, while the Robusta is known for its strong body and intense flavor. Once the batch is approved, it enters the production line. The coffee passes through a sieve that removes any larger residues that the bag may contain. In the cleaning area, the beans go through a machine with different sieves that eliminate impurities and make the final selection. Once cleaned, they are sent to silos identified by variety and type, specifically for the production process of soluble coffee. Next is the roasting phase. The beans are placed in a roaster to develop their aroma, color, and flavor. The beans are roasted at 210 degrees Celsius. By heating the beans to 210 degrees for 12 minutes, the starches they contain turn into sugars, and the aromatic compounds that give coffee its flavor are released. The roasting process also begins to burn off the caffeine. The longer the roasting time, the more caffeine is lost. The beans are constantly stirred to ensure even roasting without burning. The roasted beans then enter an industrial mill where they are ground into coarse powder. The roasted and ground beans are transported to this section of the plant, where they are mixed with hot water in a process known as extraction. When the hot water comes into contact with the coffee, it extracts its flavors, aromas, and properties. The coffee is heated until it condenses into an extract that is spread on a conveyor belt, taking it to the next station, the freezing room. Every hour, 30,000 liters of coffee travel through the heated pipes of the tower. Heated to 70 degrees Celsius, the water evaporates and is extracted through the siphon. To remove the water, the freeze-drying method can be used. The coffee infusion is frozen at about minus 50 degrees Celsius, causing a thin surface to form that can then be broken into pieces and subjected to a vacuum. It is a process characterized by its ability to preserve the flavor of the coffee. Workers have to wear thermal clothing to protect themselves from the Arctic temperatures of minus 50 degrees Celsius. As the liquid coffee advances along the conveyor belt, it receives a blast of cold air, solidifying into an 8mm thick sheet of frozen coffee. The granules then exit the freezer in shallow trays, each containing 15 kilograms, enough for 75 jars. They are directed into a sluice and introduced into a gigantic vacuum chamber, where all the air has been removed. The granules then enter the drying chamber. The dryer is heated, melting the ice in the granules. However, in the vacuum, the ice turns immediately into gas without passing through a liquid phase. This process is called sublimation. Once the water is removed, the coffee powder reaches the filling machine. Hundreds of glass jars are introduced into a conveyor belt and filled in less than a second. This machine fills 280 jars per minute, taking more than 11 hours to fill today's batch of 175,000 jars. The coffee is vacuum packed to preserve its quality for 24 months. Labels are placed on the jars and they are wrapped in groups of 6. From the factory, Nescafé jars arrive at supermarket shelves. If you enjoyed learning about the coffee making process,